Frank Klose going to talk some Phillies. They made a couple of moves today. Alec Bohm, their top prospect, is up. He's in the lineup today, but who is out and who is IL'd? That could be a bigger story. Adam Hazley has been put on the injured list, and no Rhys Hoskins in the lineup tonight, a night after Joe Girardi said, no, we're not going to do anything with him. It's funny because he praised Pivetta the night before, and then he got sent to the minors.
It's almost like nothing really changed when it comes to the messaging from what we've been through the last couple of years.
Are you saying you're frustrated with Joe Girardi?
No, because, I mean, yes, I am frustrated with him, but I think he's still a better manager than what Gabe Kapler was.
Gabe Kapler's team's playing above expectations.
Maybe they're also producing better because they, can't believe I'm saying this, but might have better talent in the bullpen.
Oh, their bullpen.
Oh, yeah. Not lineup-wise. But our lineup's just not producing. Don't we have to blame the players? If Segura's a 300 hitter but hitting 188, let's say, whose fault is that?
Yeah, I'm just saying. I mean, but Kapler dealt with that too. Guys who were not playing very well.
Yeah, and look what happened.
That were supposed to be better.
They collapsed.
Yeah, well, I mean, again, I think this goes back to, I think we put too much in the lap of Kapler for why the team wasn't as good.
Oh, I can agree with that.
They just weren't that good.
I can agree with that.
And you're starting to see that now, that it wasn't Gabe Kapler for the reason why the Phillies weren't that good. It was they just aren't that good. Agree, Frank Klose?
I don't know about that. That's kind of hard to say. I think we still need to see some more out of some of these players. I don't believe Scott Kingery is as bad as what we've seen so far. I don't think Rhys Hoskins is as bad as we've seen so far. I can definitely see some mixed messaging. I mean, there's a dramatic shift in the way Kapler and his staff did things to the way Girardi and his staff do things. Spring training was interrupted. You know, I really would like to see a little bit more before I finally come to that conclusion about some of the players.
All right, Alec Bohm is up. He's going to hit 6 tonight, play third base. Where do you see him day to day? Is he an everyday player now that he's up here? You're going to call him up to have him sit on the bench?
Well, I don't think he's going to sit on the bench. Joe Girardi made it pretty clear that if he's going to come up, he's going to play. And the very interesting thing about how they handled this Hazley injury is that they did not call up Kyle Garlick, who is somebody they could easily just recall because Garlick is a player with options and has been on the team already this year and plays the outfield. Instead, they went for Bohm. So it seems like that's a little interesting in that this is not any type of stopgap. They seem to plan to roll with him. If it was just going to be a stopgap kind of situation where he wasn't going to play a lot and just be hanging around for a little bit, they would have just gone for Kyle Garlick. But they made the decision to go to Bohm, and the fact that Gene Segura is at second base today already, I think that is very telling that they plan to let Bohm play a lot.
What do you think is fair to expect out of Alec Bohm?
It's a good question. He looked very, very good last year, but he hasn't played above Double-A. I think part of the advantage to starting him at Triple-A, besides the fact that you could delay his service time a little bit, was that he could have seen some pitching that had some major league experience, and he's never even gotten that. A lot of guys, there's a lot of veteran pitchers that usually hang out in Triple-A each year. This year they're in the Phillies bullpen, of course. But some of those players have some experience, and it actually is good for the development of the young guys coming up. So Double-A is usually all the talent, and you get the raw talent of the nice pitchers. Spencer Howard was down there last year. And then Triple-A, it's usually a quick stopover before you get to the bigs. And Bohm didn't get that quick stopover, but the good news is he looked very, very good last season. And we also can't forget that he played all the way down to Lakewood last year. That just doesn't seem right that a player who was at Lakewood last year and then went to Clearwater, then went to Reading, would be ready to take on a starting job in the major leagues right now, but he's going to get that opportunity.
Kingery has been really struggling along. Where do you see that kind of going?
I think we already see that it's going somewhere, that he's going to get some time off. I really want to know how he is doing with that COVID situation. Now, he did come out and talk about how he struggled with COVID-19, the lingering effects afterwards. He still spoke about it affecting him in terms of being out of breath rather regularly. So I really want to know how much that COVID situation has affected him, not just the virus itself, and hopefully he's better than he was when he did those interviews, but even beyond that, he missed his opportunity to get re-warmed up at summer camp. He had a very limited amount of time there, so he could be all out of whack from both of those things, one of those two things, combination of the two. So it's really hard to say, and I think it's a shame that there is no AAA right now because, you could probably put somebody like him on the IL and give him a rehab assignment to really kind of get his feet under him. But this is the 2020 season. There's no minor leagues, and you got to find a way to get him back up to full strength. And because I don't believe he is a 100 hitter in the major leagues. Even though he struggled at times last year, I don't think he is this bad.
How hard is it to hit 3 5-4-3 double plays in one baseball game?
It's rare. When Rhys Hoskins came up for his fourth plate appearance last night, he led off. So I was like, okay, well, it's not going to be a double play this time. But yeah, he's somebody else also scuffling, and we have to be honest that the jury is still out on Hoskins. A lot of this game is you come up. You have your first time around the league success. I mean, certainly Rhys Hoskins entered the major leagues with a bang, hitting all those home runs. And then the league figures out how to pitch you. And what seems to be happening with Hoskins is the league has found a way to pitch to him. And Hoskins, kind of his sort of readjustment to the league adjusting to him is to lay off a lot of pitches that they know that he won't hit, but are balls. So he gets on base a lot, and he might just be somebody that the league has figured out how to pitch to, or, he could be someone that makes that adjustment again. I mean, you think back to Dominic Brown, he made the All-Star team in 2013 because he put together a phenomenal stretch, like Hoskins put together a phenomenal stretch. And the end story of Dominic Brown was he never really fully adjusted back. Rhys Hoskins, I think that's what you need to look for from him at this point. Is he fully readjusting? And we've talked about it a million times too. Like did the four different hitting coaches he's had kind of get him all out of whack in some respects as to not knowing what to do. This spring he talked about a hybrid approach that took elements of his past with elements of Joe Dillon, the present hitting coach. And spring training, again, like I was just saying, spring training was interrupted, and then here comes summer camp, and then boom, you're playing already. So it's a really, really hard time to try to make these long-term assessments when everybody is sort of flying off the seat of their pants. And one thing I do want to say is if you look around the league, there's a lot of timing issues from a lot of players. The league-wide batting average right now, I believe, last I heard, I'm not sure how that factors into yesterday's game, but the league-wide batting average was 235. That's really bad. It's never been that bad as far as I remember. And on top of that, there's so many relievers pitching in the major leagues that otherwise would not have. So it's a tricky season. I don't believe that you're really seeing what things are, but hopefully people will come around. And not just Hoskins. Again, it's kind of a league-wide thing that people are struggling to get the timing together coming off that really odd summer camp.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I want to go into yesterday's game and get your opinion on what Zach Eflin did because he went 6 innings. He did strike out 10, but allowed 7 hits and 4 earned runs. Is that something that you could be satisfied out of your 4th-5 guy? I mean, he did get a career high in strikeouts. The sinker, we know how he can utilize that, but he did seem to struggle with the slider and the curveball. It's a lot of strikeouts in 6 innings, but he did allow the 4 earned runs, and he did get hit at the same time. So your overall thoughts on Zach Eflin's second outing now?
This is really, even for this season, this is pretty late to be having your second outing. I would like to see more out of him. He only got to go 4 innings his first time, and he didn't give up any runs in that outing. Overall, I didn't think he played poorly. Obviously, there were some things you'd like to take back, some pitches you'd like to take back. But in a way, I don't feel like I can have a big opinion on him given the circumstances. I feel like you don't have to feel like you're in danger of removing him from your rotation. He's not somebody getting hit around. And even though he did give up perhaps a little bit more than you want from your starting pitcher, at least he gave the team 7 innings. He's looking promising with the strikeouts. He's somebody I'd like to see pitch more And I think he's got some tools there. So I wouldn't worry about so much the runs he's given up. But to answer your question of is he somebody who can settle into that kind of role, I think absolutely.
Frank Klose, 97.3 ESPN Phillies insider. Phillies 5-8, last place in the NL East, 20% into this season. Are there reasons to feel like this team can, get a hot streak in them, or is this what they are?
It's funny. There's a lot of talk right now about the St. Louis Cardinals. Now, the St. Louis Cardinals lost out on more games than the Phillies did. I really want to see what happens going forward with this schedule. If you forgive some games from the Cardinals, I think you need to forgive some games from the Phillies. I think the Phillies are very much in this right now, but looking at the calendar, it's starting September 8th. They have 3 doubleheaders in 6 days. I think that is cruel. I think that is going to be something that gets in the way. But there's a trade deadline in 2 weeks. I think if you added 2 relievers that you could count on, then this team looks incredibly different. The offense has done enough. The starting pitching has done enough overall. They just need some relief.
You can't win with this bullpen, though. I mean, you could put the 3 of us in there, and we'd have a better shot.
I would agree with you. I mean, that is something they must address.
I mean, my changeup still works, man. I could get people out with that thing. That's more than these guys can do.
But to me, the story of the season is going to be if they can do something with this bullpen. I mean, Connor Brogdon, they haven't gone to him yet. Blake Parker actually didn't give up runs. It was nice to see a reliever come in and not give up runs. But they need to add an arm or two, and I would start calling the teams now that are still rebuilding and saying, hey, look, I know it's 2 weeks away, and you're probably not in this, but can you trade me anybody? And that's going to be what going to be this season rests on or loses on. It's just a bullpen. Everything else, I wouldn't say it's wonderful, but it's certainly competitive.
Frank Klose at Frank Klose, and of course he is the host of the Powder Blue podcast. And he, like all guests, appeared via the Boardwalk Honda hotline. Phillies at 4 o'clock today. We'll have our eye on that. It's Jake Arrieta looking to bounce, or not bounce back. He had a nice start, looking to keep that going here. And Alec Bohm makes his major league debut, hitting 6th and playing third base. Frank, thanks, man.
Always good to talk to you.